this rush of panic went through me. But as soon as that panic went through, it was removed. I was removed emotionally from the scene. And I understood everything's okay. I'm okay. What I'm looking at is just a scene. It's okay. I'm fine. And I felt this enormous amount of peace and love and harmony. And I'm just at all looking at everything. And that's when my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, came next to me, and I mean, the feeling of seeing and feeling your deceased grandparents is just beyond words.
I'm very happy to have Ulla Gaudin with me today. Ulla had a near-death experience and she has come to share that experience with us. Ulla, thank you so much for being my guest. I'm excited to hear about what happened.
Hi, Tia. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share my story, and hopefully it will make difference in people's lives.
It's definitely going to make a difference in people's lives. And you had mentioned to me earlier that you just recently started sharing your experience because you felt that it wasn't helpful. And I just want you to know that it is so helpful. And I am very appreciative for you coming on the podcast and sharing, and wherever else you're sharing as well, because you are making a difference in the world. And I just want you to know that. So tell me what happened. Take me back. You almost died and you had this amazing life transformative experience.
Yes. So I have to back up quite far to explain how it all happened. So I, excuse me, I grew up in a environment where I was made to believe that I am wrong shape, and because my body is the wrong shape, I am not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of romantic love. I'm sorry, I'm looking at your face and expressions, but that's where, that's the kind of environment I grew up in. I'm originally from Finland, and Finnish culture is so different from American culture. And it's very much, especially back then in early 80s, it was very much appearances and what you have, and kind of a status symbol thing, that anything you have is worthy of love. But when you are shaped like me, I'm short and round, and big thick legs, and I'm this strong woman, it's that was not acceptable. So I was always desperate for a boyfriend. Always. All my friends in high school, they had boyfriends. And I'm this oddball out who doesn't have a boyfriend, who's never had a boyfriend. So, of course, I was desperate to find anybody. And when I was 16 years old, I met my first boyfriend. And I mean, he was not a Prince Charming by any means. He didn't talk. Like the first night that we met, he didn't say a word to me. And I thought, oh, this is love. He didn't tell me to go away. So I developed a relationship with this person. And little by little, he ate up my self-confidence. He ate up everything that I believed, and I became a punching bag, a literal punching bag. I was in a very emotionally and physically um, abusive relationship for what ended up being almost 9 years. And when I was 21 years old, I developed stomach cancer. And at the time, I didn't understand that everything that I was holding in and pushing down energetically was developing as an illness in my physical body. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't understand how a healthy 21-year-old could possibly get cancer, especially stomach cancer. That's like something that old people get. And of course, having any kind of cancer is serious, and I'm expecting that I'm going to die from this. But it was actually my boyfriend who ended up killing me. One night, he was an alcoholic, and he he drank a lot. He had these nights out with his boyfriends and hanging out with buddies. And one night he came home, and I wake up with him sitting on my legs, punching my stomach. And now that I think about it, it's kind of obvious red flag. Hello, stomach cancer. He keeps punching you in the stomach. That's where all the anger and fear and all that energy is going. So he's punching my stomach because that's a spot that doesn't leave marks. And he didn't want anybody to label him a woman beater. He didn't give a shit if I had marks on me. He cared about him. And he's punching me. I remember last thing was that he was strangling me, and he bit his teeth into my left eyebrow. And I still have a mark there. Luckily, I'm good at makeup and hiding it, so you can't see it, but it left a permanent mark on my left eyebrow. That is the last thing that I remember from that night. Next thing I know, I regained consciousness in the hospital. And at first I was a little disoriented, and then I'm standing back at the back wall, and I'm sort of looking down, not like completely from like ceiling down, but I'm kind of like 8-9 feet high looking down. I'm looking at this body on the bed, and I'm looking at the heart monitor flatlining. And I'm just kind of like wondering why am I here? And then I realized that it's me. I'm looking at my own body flatlining, heart monitor, and this rush of panic went through me. But as soon as that panic went through, it was removed. I was removed emotionally from the scene, and I understood everything's okay. I'm okay. What I'm looking at is just a scene. It's okay. I'm fine. And I felt this enormous amount of peace and love and harmony. And I'm just at all looking at everything. And that's when my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, came next to me, and the feeling of seeing and feeling your deceased grandparents is just beyond words. I can't explain it with words. It is like your senses are on some sort of crazy drug that makes you feel everything a million times stronger than you feel here. But it was so beautiful, so beautiful. I was so happy to see them. I was so happy to hug them. And hugs, when you're not hugging on the physical body, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And it wasn't weird at all. I'm not thinking like, okay, I'm dead. These are my grandparents who are dead. None of that went through my mind. It was completely perfectly normal. Of course they are there. Of course they are here right now, helping me, telling me that it's okay. I'm safe. Everything will work out, whatever I decide to do. Now, they did tell me that I have to make a decision. I have to decide, either come with them or come back here, which I did. I'm here telling you this story. And so the time was about 20 minutes. So my physical body was clinically dead for 20 minutes. And during this time, I was able to have really meaningful conversations with my grandparents and these other people who were there. I know energetically, I know who they are, but if you asked me to name them, I could not tell you. And I was allowed to see what life is all about, why we are here, what a enormous difference we all make just by being here. And I just knew that I had way too much things to do and experience and see and feel, most importantly, feel, because we are here to feel things. we don't necessarily allow ourselves to feel the big, beautiful emotions as much as we should. Um, I don't think should is even the correct word, but maybe could is a better word than should. We are so accustomed to feeling small and being invisible and being um, fearful of things or worried that we don't allow those big, powerful, beautiful emotions to fully come through. And I knew that I'm here to be a light. I am here to be a guide for people, to let them see that yes, you are connected to something so much bigger than you think you are. Looking at that tiny body on that hospital bed was like, it was really like confusing that how did I fit in there? I am, as a being, we are so big that this tiny body, it's I can't explain how we fit in here. Somehow we do. and and so I was able to learn a lot of beautiful things. I was able to see how the world is so much more than we think it is, and how we are all so connected. And anything that we think that is bad or we label as bad, it is just a crossroad. It's a street sign or a question in your life, and you get to decide which way you're going to go from there. And at the time, I also understood how my boyfriend got to the point where he ended up doing what he did. And it's interesting. I was actually talking about this with somebody a couple of days ago, that I was able to forgive him right then and there. This is something that you don't hear a lot of people say in physical form, that when somebody does something extremely terrible to you, that you forgave them. But that helped me realize that it's not about him. This was all about me, and it will always be about me first. It's kind of that oxygen mask on yourself first kind of thing. You have to put yourself first. So learning a lot of great things while I was there with my grandparents. I could see everything that was going on in the hospital room. I had kind of a 360 view, so I could see the other rooms. I could see my ex-boyfriend screaming outside the hospital room. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, or I didn't do anything, and I could feel how everything was so alive. This was in the middle of winter in Finland, and I could feel the trees, how alive they were. They're supposedly dead in the winter. No, they're not. They're very much alive. And so I decided to come back because first of all, I knew that I had two children to bring into this world. And they're here today and they're amazing. And when I came back, with all this knowing, of course, my life changed drastically. The relationship was over, even though I knew that, I forgave him and all that. I knew that I can't move on and keep living with this person. That I have so much more to give to this world than being stuck in a relationship where I was afraid to leave the house. So I knew that I had to travel the world. I can't be stuck with somebody who doesn't want me to leave the house. And the first year was not necessarily easy, because I could feel everything. I could, I mean, it's like these big emotions that we are afraid to feel, whether it's fear or love or all these things. If you can imagine that times a million, trying to be stuffed back into a tiny body, and then you pick up all these other feelings from other people and everything around you. It's I had I was living in a duplex at the time, and there was a neighbor who broke up with her boyfriend. I I didn't talk to her, but I could feel her sadness. Like the sadness went through me. And I'm in the grocery store where somebody's getting scolded and the anger goes through me. It was so overwhelming that there was many days where I wasn't sure why I came back. Like I knew I had a plan. I knew there was all these things to do. I'm like, but if this is it, I can't do it because it was so big. And having these feelings go through me from everything and everyone around me. And it also felt a little crazy. I don't know if that's a good word, but it did feel a little crazy that in the summertime, I could feel how happy the grass was reaching towards the sun. So I couldn't talk to anybody about that. Like there was no person that I could say. There were people around me that I tried to explain, and this is what happened, and I was shut down. And basically told that, oh, we don't talk about that. People don't care about that. Not that they don't care about me, but they just know nobody really wants to hear that kind of stuff. So luckily, I did learn within that first year, I did learn how to regulate my own energy so that I am not affected by everything around me and I can stay in my own little happy bubble and shine my light through there. And that's what I've been doing. I've been shining my light without sharing my story because I knew that I can still energetically affect people. I can help them see who they are without with telling them with the words, with physical words, that what I went through and what I know. And I'm extremely happy that now I actually can share with words too.
I'm extremely happy that you're sharing as well because a lot of people care. A lot of people want to hear what you have to say. And I especially love that you could feel how happy the grass was
Mm-hmm.
reaching out for the sun. I've never heard anyone talk about that. That must have been such a magical and mystical feeling.
It really is. It really is. And I can still do it. Most days, being a mom now, I choose to ignore the grass. I love the grass on my lawn, but there is so many other things that I allow through me. And but it's when people tell you that when you need to be grounded, when you want to feel relief and putting your feet on the actual earth, whether it's grass or sand or the ocean, yes, it really does work because the earth is always happy to have you here.
You said when you were over on the other side, you were having these amazing conversations and you were able to find out some of the mysteries of our, existence here on Earth. Like, why are we here? Were you able to bring that answer back with you?
Yes, we are here to expand the universe, co-create. And that's how we actually expand the universe, by co-creating, by accepting that everybody gets to be themselves. And there is 8 billion people in the world now, or close to it. And there's 8 billion different ways to do life. Nobody can know what you feel inside of you. Only you do. And you get to experience the life exactly the way you want to. Now, the beautiful thing is, like, us coming together here on this video, we are co-creating, we are expanding the universe together because we are sharing this information and we are talking about this. And joy is the meaning of life. We are supposed to experience joy. We're supposed to be happy. At some point, something happened, and when people decided that it's easier to be miserable and afraid of things at all times. And it's funny that a lot of people call me a bliss bunny because I choose happiness. Even in the face of adversity, I choose happiness and joy because I know that anything that we call a adversity, like I mentioned earlier, it is a street sign. It's just a question in your life. It is showing you, okay, this is the road you're going right now. Do you want to continue? And if you don't, well, let's make a left or right or go up or down somewhere else. You get to choose. And that's the most beautiful thing, is that you yourself get to choose. Nobody else gets to tell you what to do and where to go.
And why did we kind of fall away from the joy? Do you have any answers to that?
Well, yes, I do. It started to happen during revolutionary, I'm sorry, the industrial revolution. So that's when we started to dissect animals to understand what's inside them. That's when we started to separate from ourselves from nature. And that's kind of led us down the path that we are all separate from everything and anything. But I think we are coming back to the realization that we're all one, not with just, connected as human beings and human spirits, but we are connected to the earth, and we're connected to the animal world, and we're connected with the all the flowers and grass and trees.
It's like the bigger picture, and we're like a little pixel of this bigger picture. I
Yes.
I think it's interesting that you said we're connected to the planet, because someone told me recently that Earth is a living being.
Hmm.
Is that something that resonates with you?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Everything around us is made of energy. Everything is living. They not the things and the rocks that you see around you, they might not be breathing right like you, but everything is made out of energy. And energy is just, it just is. And the way we look at things and the way we feel about things and the way we talk about things starts to attract these energy particles together, and they create these things and lands and plants and animals that we see.
You said that we make a difference by coming here to have this experience, this life. How do we make a difference with this grand scheme of things? This little old, me, for example, just little old me. How am I making a difference in this massive universe just by existing?
Just by existing, yeah, exactly. You answered your own question. Just by existing, because you have unique points of view. You make unique choices. I can't make the kind of choices that you do. I can't make the kind of choices that my children or my neighbors make. We all make very unique choices, and it makes life better for everyone, for everyone. And it's like this big buffet table where we get to choose from, and we don't judge the fish that we don't want to eat on the buffet if we want chicken. So it's like I can, but I shouldn't judge what kind of options you choose and what are your choices, because it all just blends in perfectly, and it creates this beautiful buffet table or tapestry that we're all part of, and we're moving little parts, but it is always perfect.
Do we plan our lives before we come here? All of our trials and tribulations, our joys
Partly
and
yes,
sorrows?
partly yes. Like we have, you have a buffet table that you get to pick from before you come here. There too, we have buffet table here and buffet table there, and but the beautiful thing is that you get to change those choices while you're here. You're not stuck. I've heard people say that, well, this is my karma and I have to live with it. You don't have to live with it. You get to choose that. It is whatever we put our energy towards to that attracts back to us. And if you focus on something that, okay, this is karma that I have to live with, yes, that you will. But if you decide that, okay, I had this karmic lesson that I had to learn, done, I learned it, now I can move on. You can do that too. And I have to add a little bit about the karmic lessons. Like what I learned about that is that because everything actually happens simultaneously, the time that how we understand it, it doesn't actually exist. You really can't carry any past life karmic lessons to this life, because if that life is happening right now as this life is happening right now, it when you look at it like that, it doesn't make any sense.
You're right. It doesn't really make any sense. I never thought about it like
Yeah.
that. And even a sequence of events from birth to death,
Right.
there's not really a sequence of events either. It's all happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody described the choosing of the life to me before, and I thought of it and I remembered it because of what you said about the buffet. They said exactly what you said, that we get to choose like a buffet table, like we have a plate and we get to take out the experiences, you know, and collect them on this plate and then go check out. And then we have guidance when we
Mm-hmm.
check out, like you might not be able to eat all of that. Maybe you should think about putting some of it back. Is that kind of some similar to the way that
Yes.
you were taught?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And it's, thank goodness there are people who choose to have an illness when they come here. I know that sounds crazy, but thank goodness there are people who choose to come with an illness or pick an illness, because that's how we find the solution for those illnesses. If none of us decided like, oh, I don't want to get sick while I'm there, then we'd be stuck with these really old illnesses like plague. So thank goodness there are people who are willing to do that. Thank goodness there are people, like myself, who choose to get beat up so badly that I can understand now that it's not necessary to shove everything down and to minimize yourself and make yourself invisible in this world, that we all have this light and we all need to share who we are with the world. And there's a very gentle way to do it. We don't have to push through and kind of like, if you, I'll show you energy. We get to do it gently, and we get to be the light. Like you said, that there's a light about me, and I'm actually very proud of that, because that is something that I always intend to do, to bring to the table no matter where I go, because I want to leave people better than they were when they first met me. That's who I am, that's who I want to be, because we are all so incredibly loved and supported, always, every second of the day. We are loved and supported.
That's very comforting to know that we're not just out here winging it, you know,
No.
trying to figure things out completely on our own. So it feels so good to know that we are supported. There's,
Mm-hmm.
we have love surrounding us and
Yeah.
light and truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to ask you about suffering because I think that's a question that a lot of people, that I see a lot actually. People say, why the suffering here? And you started to answer that, you know, because we learn from that suffering.
Yes.
Why do we have to learn in the first place? Why do we have to go through this tumultuous experience?
To learn. Yes. It's we don't have to. We get to choose to come and live a very happy, cushiony life. We get to choose that. But there are a lot of spirits who want to experience the uncomfortable to expand the world more. Because the way I see it is that there are questions and then there are answers. So there, what you somebody might call a problem, I call them a question. And then there's an answer. And the energy between the question and answer is always different. And I'm sure like that, like you have something that you're really thinking about, how am I going to figure this out and how is this going to work out? And when the answer comes, you're like, oh, of course, it was that obvious. But the energy lift up is huge on just one little thing, normal question. So if somebody chooses to come here and experience the death of a parent, for example, that young person might look like just one little child or teenager who just lost their parent. But once they find that answer, to that big question, how am I going to live this life without that person that I thought that was my pillar? Where am I going to find the strength to keep going on? That answer is going to expand the entire universe by a lot. And we all benefit from it. And a lot of us tend to just look at what is like in front of you, like what is the physical reality of this right now, and based our feeling and reaction to that, instead of sitting back and thinking like, what is the bigger picture here? How can I help? Because we are connected with these people. How can I connect? For me, it's been because I am very tuned with the spirit world, in tune. I'm tuned, in tune. I don't know.
Either one, I think, works. Yeah.
It's like, but well, anyway, I'm very connected to the spirit world, so I get messages. I don't want to be a medium. I don't want to go asking for them, asking, people that, who are you, who do you want to contact? That's not my thing. But I get messages through, and I can help people by telling, hey, so and so wants you to know that you are okay. You can let go of the shit that you're holding on to, and that is like the biggest message always from everybody that ever sends messages through me. It's like, okay, oh honey, you can let go. Like you don't have to hold on to the gunk that you're holding on to energetically. Of course there's bigger questions, hungry children, or the wars that are happening in the world right now. I don't have answers to those. I don't pretend that I have answers to those, but it is something that I can hold space in me for peace. I can be kind to the person next to me, be kind to the person at the grocery store, and I can do my part of bringing that peace. We often feel very helpless in the situations like this, and you're not supposed to figure out the answer. That's not like an individual problem or question to answer. You can do your part by just being the light that you are and helping somebody else. You can go and help your elderly neighbor bring the groceries from the car to their house. That is advancing the peace in the world.
And that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, a difference that you make just by existing, by being who you are.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's like this big picture that comes together, and it's not complete without each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful. You said that you were clinically dead for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When you were on the other side, did you experience that like it was 20 minutes?
No, there was no time, and time didn't matter. Everything seemed to happen instantaneously. Like everything happened really fast, but yet nothing moved. Like in the timeline, like nothing moved, but everything happened really fast. And I would say like the information that I was able to gather, observe, instilled in me, I think is probably the best description. It if I went to school for that stuff, I would probably have to be like a postgraduate doctorate degree, 10 years of studying to learn all that. And it happened in 20 minutes.
On your website, it says that you talk to dead people.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how that unfolds for you. What is that like? And are they just constantly on, like the television in the background, or is it something you can control, turn off and on?
Well, first of all, I want to call them dead people because that is my way of making fun of death from my personal experience, because death doesn't exist. So that's why I call them dead people. They're not some zombies, like you see in the movies. They are spirits, your dearly departed, that have moved on to the other dimensions, um, from where we are. And it's interesting to say that yes, they are always on, but I do not pick up on them. I am more focused on staying in touch with my own spirit, my higher self. And that's something that I teach other people to do, how to get in touch with your higher self and stay there. Um, Most of the time, you can't, there's sometimes, these little kinks that you're just like, whoa, that wasn't fun. But yes, I get messages from other people's loved ones too. And for example, my best friend, her mom would not leave me alone. She was very adamant because my best friend would not receive her messages. She didn't believe that it's actually her mom. She was leaving her all kinds of signs, like physical signs, like roses, and she was not seeing them or putting two and two together, realizing that, oh, that's my mom trying to tell me something. And so she would not leave me alone. So finally, I had to tell my best friend that, okay, your mom's here and she wants to tell you XYZ. Um, and they are very, very clear messages. It's like a lot of people want to know, how can I receive these messages? And like I already mentioned, that being in touch with your higher self, that's like your number one. Don't worry about the other dead people. Be in touch with yourself. But if there are people that you have, like for example, recently lost, and you really want to know that they're okay, you can ask for it, and simply ask for it and say that I would like to get a message from you. The trick is that you have to believe that you can receive it, and that is one of the biggest things for most people, that it's, I'm asking for it, I'm asking for it, okay, but do you believe? Well, no. So that's where you get lost with the messages. And I have, of course, my own dead people that I like to talk to, and I see, there's people that appear as butterflies for me, and I always know that they just come to say hi, or if there is a bigger question in my life, and I'm like, okay, I need some extra validation or guidance here, they drop me a message, and it is literally just a thought in your mind. You just have to believe and know that it is from these people who have passed on.
That is the kicker, though, the belief. I know that, and I think it's so common because we
Mm-hmm.
we doubt ourselves and our
Yeah.
gifts and our abilities to be able to do things, especially anything kind of supernatural like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of tips can you give us to ease our doubts, to start believing in ourselves, so that we can just simply do at home, so we can start communicating with our loved ones?
So first of all, know that you're not crazy. You're not crazy for wanting to communicate with them, and you're not crazy if you actually get, not actually, I shouldn't say if, when you get a message. And learning to believe is like any skill. You can ask for a physical evidence first and make it something that is super, super easy and comfortable for you. For example, okay, I want to see a white feather on the ground on my walk. Simple as that. Something that you are not emotionally attached to, because once that emotional attachment comes to play, we start to doubt ourselves. Always. It's like, nah, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And well, because you are keep telling yourself it's not going to happen, it is not going to happen. So something simple like that. Or you can say, I want to see the brightest red apple I've ever seen. And when you let go of the idea that it has to happen some specific way, just watch, you're going to see that brightest red apple. And you're going to be like, oh, oh my God, there it is. It really happened. And you can spill, you can learn to build your skill a lot stronger with simple things like this. And you just have to believe. That is probably the hardest part, is that, okay, if you see a red apple, I was asking for a red apple, I saw a red apple, and you go, well, there's a lot of red apples on the other side there. Yes, but there's just one particular red apple right here. You have to believe and know that, yes, this is the sign. Because we're always, I mean, we're always, every single one of us, we are always connected, um, to our higher selves and to these other dead people. We cannot disconnect. We can remove our belief from that. I'm sorry. We can remove our belief from that, and kind of just keep going backwards, and believe less and less and less, but we cannot disconnect completely ever.
I love that tip where you can just ask for something and
Mhm.
then watch for it, because that's easy to do and that's physical. We don't have to second guess. Well, like you said, we might still second guess ourselves, but at least it's something physical and not like a feeling or an intuition,
Mhm.
which tends to get pushed out of the way a little easier than just actually seeing something with our eyes. So I'm going to try this today and I'll
Yay,
keep you posted and let you know what happens. But I'm
awesome.
really excited about it. Ula, if my viewers wanted to reach out to you, how can they find you?
On the description notes, there is my website. There is a little freebie meditation that is really, really good. Even if I say so myself, it's channeled material, so it's very much in tune with the divine spirit. And then there is a link to my community also.
If you had one message you'd like to leave with the audience today, one thing you'd want them to take away from your experience, what would it be?
Life is not that serious. We are here to experience joy, and you get to choose that every single day, even in the face of adversity.
I'm so glad that you started sharing your story because it's so important. You have such a beautiful message. You're inspiring, and I'm very blessed to have had you as my guest. Thank you so much, Ula.
Thank you so much, Sia, for having me. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for being here. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing if you enjoy near-death experiences and other spiritually transformative stories. It helps the algorithm know that this information is useful and push it out to more people. And that's the goal, to get as many people to know that we are eternal spiritual beings and that we never die. Our bodies might die, but our essence will never die. And I want people to live with less fear. Let's all spread the word. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that little notification bell so you get all the notifications when my videos post. Thank you for all of your support. I'm sending love to you.